We're talking about a bizarre online joke, literally centered around cockroaches, that transformed almost overnight into a massive digital movement. It's a movement that perfectly captures the deep, simmering frustrations of India's youth, and honestly, it's completely rewriting the playbook on how digital activism operates today. I mean, it's the ultimate hook, right? How on earth does an insect, the kind most of us just want to chase out of our kitchens, suddenly become this potent symbol of political rebellion? To really get this, we have to look past the sheer absurdity of the Cockroach Janata party and look at the environment it was born into. Because, spoiler alert, this isn't just about internet trolling. It's an absolute masterclass in using satire to process widespread, systemic dissatisfaction. So the spark for this whole thing didn't come from a political rally. It actually came from a courtroom. It all started when Supreme Court Chief Justice Surya Kant, during an open hearing, made a controversial comment comparing some unemployed youth and activists to cockroaches and parasites. He suggested that folks who couldn't get jobs were just turning to social media activism to attack others. Now, he did later clarify that he was only talking about people with fake degrees, but, well, the damage was already done. The youth felt deeply insulted. And amidst all this outrage, a user named Abhijit Dipke took to X, formerly Twitter, and jokingly asked, "What if all the cockroaches came together?" Fast forward just 72 hours to day 3, and boom, the Cockroach Janata party, complete with accounts and a website, was officially born. The mastermind behind this brilliant satirical facade is a 30-year-old TR graduate from Boston University named Abhijit. And to join his new political party, well, you had to meet 4 incredibly strict, highly amusing criteria. Get this, you must be unemployed, you must be lazy, you must be always online, and you absolutely must be a professional complainer. It's just a direct, completely tongue-in-cheek embrace of the exact insult thrown at them by the establishment. By owning the insult, they literally disarmed it. And look at how they kept building on the joke with their official motto. They took that foundational heavyweight terminology of traditional politics, secular, socialist, democratic, and then just abruptly smashed it into pure absurdist internet humor by tacking on the word lazy. It's such a jarring juxtaposition, but that is exactly why it works. It instantly signals that while the underlying anger is very real, the vehicle for that anger, it's going to be relentlessly mocking. Now, what absolutely blows my mind here is the execution speed. Abhijit used modern AI tools like ChatGPT and Claude to draft an entire party manifesto and design the party's branding in just 24 hours. And the manifesto didn't pull any punches either. It laid out these sharp satirical takes on corporate media, the voting system, paper leaks, and even judges getting government posts after they retire. It perfectly highlights the modern digital activism playbook. With AI, one person can literally take a fleeting thought and rapidly mobilize it into a fully fleshed out viral entity overnight. So, what does this all mean for public response? How do people react to this AI-generated satire? 3 million. That is the staggering number of Instagram followers the party amassed in a mere 3 days. 3 days! And it wasn't just passive scrolling. Millions of people actually took the time to fill out Google Forms to apply for party membership. They clearly struck a massive cultural nerve. People weren't just laughing at the joke, they were actively participating in it. And the momentum just kept building. Their total following quickly surged past 10 million, completely transcending a simple viral joke among frustrated students. Prominent political figures, known faces like Mahua Moitra and Kirti Azad, actually began engaging with the movement. The sheer volume of this following transformed the Cockroach Janata party from a localized internet meme into this absolute digital juggernaut that mainstream politics could no longer just ignore. The commentary surrounding this whole thing has been fascinating to watch. For instance, retired government official Ashish Joshi noted that in an environment where, frankly, a lot of people have grown afraid to speak out against the system, this movement feels like a breath of fresh air. He jokingly points out the biological truth of cockroaches. They're incredibly stubborn and they survive everything. But right beneath that humor, he's acknowledging that this resilient, stubborn energy is exactly what's allowing these young people to metaphorically climb the entire system. You really have to look at this movement like a giant iceberg. The satire, that's just the tip we see above the water. The massive, submerged portion of this iceberg is fueled by severe systemic dissatisfaction. Think about it. While the party is posting AI cockroach memes, the reality on the ground was that during the exact same week this launched, nationwide protests were raging over medical entrance exam paper leaks. While the brand leans into being lazy, the stark reality is a growing crisis of youth unemployment, even as millions graduate every year. The absurdist jokes are essentially a shield against a very real fear of speaking out in a tense political climate that's dealing with inflation and divisive politics. And this sentiment is being echoed by major voices in the digital space, too. Take this observation from prominent YouTuber Drew Rothy. He notes that, if you look closely, there is no big political machine or hidden power backing this. It was literally started by one guy. Rothy points out that the public is not stupid. They understand exactly what's happening. The CJP is purely a mirror reflecting the intense frustration and anger simmering inside the youth. It's a completely organic, decentralized outcry. We're even seeing this analysis cross over from digital commentators to legal experts. Supreme Court lawyer and activist Prashant Bhushan noted that the initial comments from the courtroom showed a deep resentment toward the youth, but he views the viral explosion of this satirical party as a clear indicator of widespread disillusionment. According to Bhushan, people are just tired. They want to ask questions, and more importantly, they're demanding accountability. When traditional avenues feel closed off, they're using viral satire to force those questions into the open. Honestly, it's a phenomenon we're seeing globally. Youth demographics everywhere are using internet culture, memes, and digital irony to completely subvert traditional political discourse. Now, what's particularly strategic about the Cockroach Janata party is how they manage their own megaphone. The group actively refuses to interviews to or speak with what they refer to as traditional Gaudiya media, which is a term critics use to describe mainstream media that's seen as overly sympathetic to the ruling establishment. By entirely boycotting those mainstream media narratives, they maintain absolute control over their message. They're using their 10 million-strong platform to push back against the establishment strictly on their own terms, relying entirely on direct-to-audience social media. But of course, making that much noise, it comes with real-world friction. It's not all just fun at memes. Abhijit recently released a video revealing he'd received between 100 and 150 Instagram password reset requests. These are very clear hacking attempts aimed at revoking their social media handle and silencing the movement. Abhijit noted that the more they speak against the system, the more irritated the system seems to get. It actually led him to ask his followers a very pointed question. Is the BJP scared of cockroaches? It really shows that the establishment is actively feeling the sting of this digital activism. And that brings us to the ultimate question we have to ask ourselves as we wrap up this explainer. Can a digital movement that started as a late-night AI-generated joke actually change the direction of traditional politics in a country as large as India? Well, whether the Cockroach Janata party transitions into a literal political force or just remains a massive, unignorable barometer for youth anger, it's already proven one thing for sure. The youth are finding incredibly innovative, resilient ways to make their voices heard. And, just like their namesake, they're proving very, very hard to get rid of. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll leave you to ponder that thought.